back to the Brian Johnson Show. And this episode, I got my homegirl, Brandi. She is one of the coolest people you will ever meet. She's like a very just honest person, and you can find that she is like refined herself and kept developing herself and took some time to really, really dig deep into who she is and what she's about. And she just released her first book. And we're going to be talking about it on this podcast. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things, too. Just about her upbringing, how she got to where she's got, and just her journey here. You know, I never thought that she'd be an author, and now she is. It's kind of really dope, man. And I'm 100% in her corner and supporting her. It's going to be a really dope episode, man. I'm glad you guys are going to be tuning in and checking it out. So, enough said with all that. You know, it's episode 21. Yeah, we're legal to drink on this episode now. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the show. And as always, man, hit that subscribe button and follow. All right, other than that, you guys take care, man. Peace. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, I said that again. I say it every time. How's everyone doing? Listen, so this is episode 21. I messed up on the last one, okay? I know. I screwed that last episode up. I know, all right? Look, I'm working on these things, all right? Like I said, I spent 2 months getting these things together, making sure everything was on point, and we have, let's just say this podcast is going to go places in a few. I don't know when that's happening, but it's coming. So I'm just taking my time. I'm doing my thing here as much as I can, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been checking it out. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for checking out the last episodes. And it's been a lot of work. It's just something that takes a long time to get to, but I know it's going to get there. So anyway, enough of that. Today, I'm with an author, a brand new author. And she is somebody I know for a long time. And she surprises me all the time because I didn't know she was a creative like this. And now I know. And I'm just like, I'm in awe. I'm kind of shocked. And today we have Brandi McAlister.
Yes.
I said it right. I always screw up someone's last name on every other podcast. Please don't shoot me. But today I got it right. And we have her here today. I am in her lovely abode. And we are here to talk about her book, how does she get here, and basically her story. So, getting started. Hello, Brandi. How are you?
Hey, Brian. I'm well. I'm excited.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, how are you doing?
I'm exhausted, but I'm doing really well. I'm still on a high. I just, like you mentioned earlier, my book just came out.
What's the name of the book today?
It is called Real Talk, A Conversation from My Heart to Yours.
Ah.
And it is a 30-day devotional that basically just talks about like real life experiences that everyone experiences, whether, the ups, downs, twists and turns, anything you could think of life is just giving you that those type of experiences and how God is the center and how you can make it through with him.
And it takes time.
Absolutely.
It takes time. And so you've developed a book.
Yes.
You have a blog.
Yes.
Could you plug the blog real quick?
Absolutely. The blog is called Pray the Impossible.
All right.
And that's also the IG name as well as Facebook.
Ah.
And Pray the Impossible is a devotional blog where I give weekly encouragement. So around every Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll give I like to call them testimonial conversations.
Nice.
And it's pretty much similar where I give my own testimony or maybe someone else's and how I just see God in it. And it's basically just to uplift people and give people hope and faith and just like courage.
Building up the confidence, building up who they are, their spirituality and stuff.
Yes.
Were you always into the spirituality or of God and everything, or did it come to you as time went on?
It actually came to me as time went on. A lot of people don't know is that I didn't grow up in the church.
Okay.
We call each other sister from another mister. Charisma Mitchell, my best friend.
Ah.
Yes.
Little Riz, what it do?
Yes, my sister. And so I would have to say maybe 11 years ago.
Okay.
So she invited me to her church. Her godmother's the pastor. The name of the church is called the House of the Lord Church.
That's
It's
dope.
located in Inglewood, New Jersey.
All right.
It's a real small, intimate church, family members. So she invited me. I had to be about maybe 22.
All right.
So that's when I would say I found God for myself. And that after then, like, I just started to grow in my spiritual walk.
Did you ever, when you were growing in that spiritual walk, now you're from Teaneck, right?
Yes.
You grew up in Teaneck and everything. Mm-hmm. How was your upbringing different than what bringing in a church bringing? How was that for you? Because I came from a very secular place, of course, obviously. Mm-hmm. So how was that upbringing? I guess, how did that upbringing keep you from getting to that church part? Like, I guess you didn't really grow up in a church, so how was that upbringing for you?
So I would go occasionally. My mom would send me to Vacation Bible School to Teaneck. I think it's Teaneck Baptist Church up on Teaneck Road.
Yes.
So I would go there, or like sometimes I went. This is like years ago when Community was like a small church. Mm-hmm. So I would go there with my dad. Okay. But it was never like consistent.
Right.
So even when I was in college, I would go to church.
What school did you go to?
I went to Virginia State University.
Okay. Virginia State University.
HBCU in the house. So I would go to church in college, but I would go just to say I went to church because my roommates were going. Okay. But I never had that connection.
Right.
So because I didn't grow up in the church, it wasn't something that was like planted, that seed wasn't planted in me, even though my dad would be like, oh, let's go to church.
Right.
But it wasn't consistent, you know? So even when I went to church in college, like I would go to church, I wouldn't relate to the pastor. I wouldn't understand the message. So it wasn't until when Charisma invited me and like immediately, like that first day that I went to that church, I never left. I got my brother to go, my mother to go, and now I even have friends who go to my church now.
Serving as a conduit for the Lord.
Hello, come on now.
So did it at any point, because you decided to go into church, you decided to go into that life, and to a certain extent into that life, you know, it's not like it's a piece of you, as you are a collective of everything that you've been through in life. So you went to college and you left high school. How was your upbringing helping you? Well, let me just bring this back. You went to college, right? Now you went to an HBCU. That's normally there's a hefty or a heavy Christian influence in those schools. And like you said, some of your roommates was going to school and everything else for you. Did you feel alienated because of that, or did you just say, you know what, I'm just going to do this and be done with it, and I'm going to just maybe go there and come back? Because I know from you, it wasn't a thing. You like you said, it was just you were going to go. Did it at that point was just like, okay, I'm going to just do this, get this over with? How was it going to a HBCU and not being like really in the church and stuff like that? I never explored that before.
You know what? Virginia State, it wasn't. I know there are some schools who are like private schools where it's like you would have to go to like maybe your mosque or the chapel, but Virginia State wasn't like that. But yes, there was a lot of people who did go to church. There were several churches in the area in the local community that we went to, but I never felt alienated because it wasn't something that I knew that I was missing. Right. Like I didn't know what I was missing out on. So because it wasn't something that I grew up doing or going regularly, so I didn't feel any type of way. It was just like, oh, you going this Sunday? Okay, I'm gonna go too. You know what I mean? Like, let me just go. Right. And it was like, all right, just to try. So maybe now looking back at my 22-year-old self, I was probably trying to find. I was trying to find God somewhere, but I just didn't know. So when you
got out of that, so basically you graduated. What did you graduate for?
I graduated in 2006 with my bachelor's in mass communications.
Nice, mass communications. How was that degree for you coming out of school, coming from HBCU and getting into? Did you go right to the field in New York, or how did that work for you? Because that's a story. That's a mass communication is like it says, mass.
It's very broad. Yes. No, the funny thing is I couldn't find a job right away.
Yeah, and that sounds about right.
2006 was right before, I think it was like the recession.
The recession hit. I lost my job in 2008.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
So 2006, I actually started, I was temping, and then I found a permanent job at PCF, but it was in Rockley. Rockley.
What?
Yeah, Rockley.
Not PCF over? Stop.
No. Yeah, it was in Rockley.
Wow.
And so it's funny. So after I left there, I found this company that did marketing.
Air quotes, everybody. For those who
I did air quotes.
Who can't see right now? She just dropped the heavy air quotes right there.
And I put air quotes because like how they advertised. It was like, oh, you're going to be doing marketing and this, but come to find out, like I was actually, it was kind of like a pyramid type of company.
Yes.
So,
I
you know,
I
and
did
you're
those.
right. So
I did
I'm like
those.
23. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing marketing. No, like I was in the field, like selling Yankee tickets, selling
Welcome.
makeup. Like I was going to any place where there was a shopping center or a mall and just like selling these tickets. And like there would be days where I would make no money,
Yes.
like no money at all. And so, but I always knew I had a passion for communications and things like that.
You always were a people person. I could always say,
Right.
like, even when you were younger, even as I got to know you, you weren't one of those people that was very closed off.
Right.
You weren't like, what? I know you have time to talk to me, guy.
Right.
Fuck out of here, gang. I'm not with that shit, right?
yeah.
You're not popping. I'm over here with you. You didn't turn your nose down at people.
Right,
That I always say about you. Never turn your nose. I didn't know you well enough to know anything
Right.
else past that point,
Yeah.
but I knew you enough to say, yeah, Brandi never shitted on me when I said hi, so
Right,
I guess
yeah.
she's cool, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like she didn't shit on people. That's one thing I could say about you. So it wasn't. But did you get any skills from that?
I would think so. I guess I would say I'm a relationship builder, so that definitely helped with my relationship building skills, or just
And the ability to approach people.
Exactly.
You became approachable. That's I always say. Even if a job sucks or you don't like it, at least
Right.
take something from it.
Yeah.
Something that you can use down the road. I learned a lot from all my gigs, and although it hasn't made me millions of dollars yet,
Right.
it's definitely helped me be able to sit in a room and talk to anybody. I can have a conversation with somebody even if they're slightly off. I can find a common level with that.
Yeah.
I think you probably can relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Now you developed that kind of skill and you decided to move on. How did you begin to find somewhere to land? Because you're at that point you got to be in like a fluctuation period.
Yeah, that definitely. So after that job, I actually started working at it was a boutique public relations firm. So I was there maybe like a year and a half.
Yes.
And then after I left there, I went to this event planning magazine called Biz Bash. So I was there for 2 years, and then I got laid off in 2010.
Okay.
So it was back to the drawing board, and
Know the
you know,
feeling.
you're in that space like,
Yeah.
well, what am I supposed to do in life? Like, I'm laid off. Like, I have this degree. I'm not using it. Like, I owe Sally Mae money. I have a car note. I have car insurance.
And they coming for you, baby. They want their money.
Right. So in the meantime, I would just like, I was still temp.
Okay.
And then it was at that point I was like, you know what? Well, let me go back to school.
Right.
And then that's when I went to Manhattanville College. That's in Westchester, where I got my MS in Integrated Marketing Communications.
Nice. Okay.
So
Upgrade.
yeah, right.
Upgrade. It's the moment. We're upgrading at this point. We're upgrading everybody.
Right. You see where we're going. We're going somewhere
We're upgrading
now.
at this point. I'm not saying at this point, but I need to upgrade this.
Right.
Yeah. So you upgrade at this point.
Yeah.
And now, like I say, whenever someone goes back and gets more degrees, okay? You remember that Kanye song? You said you got your masters.
Right.
There comes a point where either you are taking this piece of paper and applying it to make yourself a ton of cash,
Yeah.
or at the end of the day, you are just sitting on that piece of paper and you might as well wipe your ass with it.
Yeah.
When did that moment hit for you that I gotta pull my weight, put my bull straps on and get something done here?
Well, while I was still getting my master's, this is when I landed a gig working in Macy's as an assistant manager for print production.
That's nice. That's
Yeah,
good stuff.
so-
When people say Macy's, they're talking about working at Garden State Plaza.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, this corporate. Right. Yeah. So I actually freelanced there for 15 months before they hired me. 15 months.
That takes what do I say? That takes balls.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there were times when I was like, what's going on here? And then you know what? It was not my time.
Right,
You know?
right.
So I finally got my master's, and then just being in that world, because like I mentioned with my bachelor's, mass communications is so broad, and now
Yeah.
I have my degree in integrated marketing communications.
Wow.
So regardless of what I was doing, like with the packaging, I dealt with in-store signage. So, when you go into Macy's and you'll see like a poster of like a model, or you'll see a sign that says 2 for $20. So I was a project manager for that. That's still marketing communications. It's still speaking to.
That's a beast of stuff. That's a lot of pressure on your head.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of people that looked like you?
Actually, in my department, yes.
Nice. Okay.
In my department.
I always ask people when they go into corporate situations.
Yeah.
Because in my field wasn't so corporate.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people look like me.
Yeah.
But when I went up to the higher levels, it's like Jay says, and I find it even at the most medium of level. You might not even be at the top of that penthouse or that complex where you're at. But at the end of the day, it decreases.
Yeah.
It decreases. So that's good that you have people around you that were from that look
yeah.
like you. That's good. Because anywhere you go, you want to see familiar faces. As much as I hate to say it, you want to see familiar faces.
Absolutely, because I've freelanced at another company prior to that, and I was the token girl, and it was a completely different vibe, different space. The first day I started, they was like, "Oh, hi." Then like the next day, it was like real cliquish. And it was just.
Yeah.
It was an uncomfortable environment.
Right.
Whereas when I went to Macy's, it was like open arms.
Those little comfortable environments, you'd be like, I'm just going to go eat in my car. Right. Like, I'll eat lunch in the car.
Right, like,
I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not going to
yeah.
sit in this lunchroom day. I'm going to eat in my car.
Right.
Like, that's just how it goes. Because you feel like, especially where we come from, because in Teaneck,
it's diverse.
It's diverse. We know everybody. Everybody's like, okay, I might not care for you all that much, but I can sit there and at least have a conversation with you.
Right.
In some of these places, you get to the real world, and some of these places, it's just like, all right, well, fuck you. I'm going over here. So you're in this situation, you're growing, you're in this place where you're working and you're growing. Did you ever think that you would be like start journeying? Did you see any inclinations of any creativeness coming out of you? Like, I want to go do something else. Did you have any inklings about that at that time?
Yeah. So at this time, because I'm in print, now at this time, everything is digital.
Yes, it's beginning to change over at that point.
Yeah. So at
this
that
was like
point,
what, circa 2013?
Yep, 2013,
Okay.
2014.
Okay, yeah.
So everything's digital now. So now I don't have any digital background experience. So like, even though I'm looking for jobs that are dealing with social media, you know how that goes. Like,
social media is a beast.
Yeah.
I remember I tried to run one of my homies' social media at one point, and I misspelled some shit, got all screwed up, and I was like, I don't know enough about this.
Yeah.
Like, I think I know because I got a few other followers, but then I had to realize those people know you.
Yeah.
To obtain people who don't know you is a whole nother genre.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome that? Like, you're in a digital world, and you're from a print world.
Right. So I think I'm still figuring that out, but what happened was I became a Delta in 2012.
Okay.
And so I remember.
Shout out to the sorority.
Yes. Shout out to my sorors, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Got to plug that in too, right?
Yes.
So I remember when I first crossed, I told them how, I had just got my master's and how I wanted to do social media and the marketing.
Right.
So I became the chair of the public relations committee, the technology committee. So like I basically run like the Facebook page. I update like the website. So I started now, maybe, I'm trying to think when I realized that. Like, I realized after a while that maybe it wasn't meant for me to have another air quote, job doing social media. Maybe it's because I'm doing it on the side.
Right. So you don't want to always cross the side in the main.
Right.
I get it.
You know what I mean? So it's like now I'm realizing that, okay, my integrated marketing communications degree is like integrating social media with public relations, with marketing, with, the old fashioned ways of marketing.
Yes.
So I'm now getting my experience through, like, now with my book, with my blog, and even with my sorority.
Yeah. And that's another joke, because you're learning how to do these things. So in a play on having faith, you gotta have faith to go do that.
Yeah.
Which when I always say it takes balls to do it, what I'm really saying is you gotta have faith to do that shit. You gotta believe in something, because nothing comes easy. Some people, like the guy I interviewed prior to this podcast, they just believe in themselves without a doubt, and they have that point blank believing. And some people need that encouragement every once in a while to get that snapping, like, okay, you can do this.
Right.
Was there ever a time when your faith was tested on you doing this, what you're doing now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you take me there? Can you take me there?
I'm going to take you there. So, I guess let me backtrack just to give
Some context? Okay.
So, when was it? Maybe November. Yeah,
right.
November of last year. So like I said, go to church. And my minister gave me a prophetic word. And he said that I see you writing a book about your transformation. And I'm like, all right, cool. But in my mind, I thought I was going to write a book maybe in 5 years, but it would be geared towards women to help them become a better version of themselves when they put God first. Because that's basically from 22 to 23, like that's basically like how I've just been transforming myself.
Right.
So after he said that, I was like, all right, cool. So then I went to Walmart and I got a journal and I just started like writing. But pause that. I'm always giving testimonies in church. So it can be something from when I got laid off to how now, I have a new job. Whatever it is, I'm always giving a testimony or to go back to what I thought the book would be for women, my girlfriends, just women I know are always coming to me and I'm always just giving them encouragement. They may be going through something that I had already experienced and I'm like, hey, this is what I did to get through.
Did you ever think about being like turning everything around and becoming a counselor? Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, it's funny because when I was a little girl, I remember saying like I wanted to be like a child psychologist.
Okay.
But then that thought just, as you get older, but then I have a passion for helping people.
They say we think of 100 thoughts. One of them's $1 million thought. And we always miss, a lot of people miss that $1 million thought. We never know it until we're there.
Yeah. So that was my thought, like at probably like 5th grade or something like that. You know what I mean?
That's a good thought to have. Shoot, most people at 5th grade, we're thinking about, hey, when can we get home? I want to get home right now and watch my show. Like, I don't give a damn what you're talking about, teach. Yeah.
So it's like, I just always said, like, I love helping people. So anyway, fast forward. So got the book and then I just started writing. So what a lot of people don't know is that my pastor had asked me to give a Sunday word based off of like my inspirations that I always put on Facebook or just.
This is in front of the congregation.
Yeah.
How do you feel about speaking in front of people? Was that hard for you?
I was very nervous at first, but because my congregation is so small and it's a family that I overcame that.
Good.
But yeah, I was nervous, right?
Sweaty palms are normal.
So at that time, I think I might have had 3 devotionals written.
Okay.
So wrote that, and then January 2nd, I wrote down, because he told me back in November I would write a book. So I just wrote down, write a book.
Write a book, yes.
Write a book. That was it.
Goal setting. I always talk about that. Goal setting. Have a goal. It doesn't have, you don't, just never try to do 3 or 4 goals. Just have one goal, achieve it, snowball into the next one.
And that's it. So I said, write a book. And then next thing I know, 9 months later, I had a whole book. It turned into a 30-day devotional. And it was just based, like I had to tap into myself, tap into conversations that I've had with people, tap into things I've seen people posting on social media about how they're upset, how they're depressed, and I really had to tap into this.
Did you have a moment of, did you have clarity moments like, damn, I don't know if I want to put this in here, damn?
Absolutely. I did, because it was like, I'm allowing people who do not know me to see my vulnerable side.
Yeah, you're letting that in. You're letting a lot of people in.
I'm letting people into that side of me, and I was like,
Now, the blog came during this time?
Yes. So so before that happened, so I think maybe it was by April,
Okay, April
of 2018.
2018, okay. So this is real fresh stuff right here.
Fresh stuff. So by April 2018, I think I had 34 devotionals written.
Ooh.
So another girlfriend of mine,
that's a lot of feverishly writing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like I was just here with it. So I had 34 written, and so I had shared with her like, I'm gonna write the book. It's gonna be a 30-day devotional. So she's like, so before that, I said that I wanted to publish one devotional on one of my favorite devotional websites.
Right.
So when I said that to her, she's like, but there's so much of God in you for him to allow you to do something that small.
Right.
So she's like, no, why don't you just start your own devotional blog so you could get your following before your book comes out?
There you go. There's God, right?
Right.
There's God working right there.
Right,
'Cause, I mean,
working.
let's be honest. That right there is probably the best thing someone said to you in about 10 years, to be honest with you. Because you dropped that right on your head
right there. And I was like, all right, cool. But at this point, I hadn't even begun the research to get the book published yet.
How do you ever...
Like this, this didn't even happen yet.
So did you ever research how to doing a blog? Because this is different from like Nicole Bitchie. This is different from like Shade Room. This is not somebody commenting on and what's going on in modern culture. You're talking about something that's highly personal, and you're putting it out there. This is you become a personal blogger at this point.
Yeah.
And when you open yourself up, you're surrounded by your peers, and your peers can have the most effect around you because they know you best. So they'll say, well, what you doing, man?
Right.
They're either going to knock you or support you.
Right.
Many of them will not stand in the middle of that. Did you have some reservations about putting out that blog, even if it was going to help the book? It was going to put out a lot of information about you.
Right. I think, yes, at first I did. And then I was just like, you know what? I just have to do it because this year, I had my own personal experiences.
Right.
All of my friends had their own personal experience. There was not one person that, whether I seen it on Facebook, Instagram, or in my personal circle, there was not one person who was not going through something this year.
Everybody goes through something, man.
And I feel like, but January, it went like January, February, March, but like, and I'm just like, every month it was like somebody coming to me, and I was just like, so as I'm going through my own situation, somebody else going through their own, and I'm really like,
you're putting that out in the universe. The universe is going to bring it to you. It is true what they say. What you put out will come back.
Yeah.
If you put out negativity will come back and eat you alive.
Yeah.
It will eat you alive. And for you to put out that for people to come to you, that means you were ready. You were recepting. You were a conduit.
Yeah.
You were recepting it for it.
Yeah, because I'm like, hey, I might have went through that a couple years ago.
Right.
And you're coming to me and I'm like, hey, pray about it. Maybe you should fast. Maybe you should do this. And I'm just trying to give people the same help that I needed when I was 22 before I found God for myself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
yes.
And just to go pause that. So, I'm 33. So, a friend of mine, when she turned 33, she's like, oh, 33 is your Jesus year, your Jesus year. And I'm like, all right, cool.
I've never even heard of that one
yeah,
before.
So you're Jesus.
Those 32, 33-year-old women, if they're not married or pregnant, they're flipping out.
No, so it's like your Jesus year.
Yeah.
And she was just saying, like, your Jesus year is like, it's a life-changing event. Something life-changing happened. So for her, she had a baby. Another girlfriend of mine, she got married. So, and this whole year, I'm like, well, what's my life-changing event? I'm over here like, well, okay, what's in store for me?
You getting tight looking around.
I'm getting tight. Like, all right, well, what's my life changing event?
Yeah, you called Brandi this week?
Right.
Man, she ain't pick up the phone, baby.
So then I had another two girlfriends of mine. They had they got job offers that they weren't even qualified for.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
that's
all right.
a big blessing right there.
Yeah. So that's why I was just
scary.
Like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, Jesus here. I didn't realize what my life-changing event was until that blog came out, and now this book.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Now you know.
And so
this is your path, though, man. I could feel you doing what you're doing right now, and I could feel your path doing it. I have a quick question.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
You put out this book.
Yeah.
And you put it out. You put out this book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this book is a physical book.
Physical.
Why didn't you put it on Amazon as an Amazon book?
So it will eventually go on, but I started pre-orders on my actual blog.
Okay.
So eventually it will get on Amazon. She's not even a month yet. Right? She's not a month yet.
Okay.
But and also I prefer prefer it to be a physical copy because it's a devotional book. So there's a section where I'm asking you questions, and it's a note section. For you
Yeah,
to
I
take
saw that
notes.
when I was skimming through the book. Yes, I did
So it's
see
a
that.
note section. So instead of it being like, I mean, will it go on a Kindle? I'm pretty sure I will do it.
I think that's a given.
It's a given, but
given.
I love to journal. I love to write things down. So I think it's very personal. It's interactive,
Right.
and I want you to really sit and think about these questions that I'm asking you, and for
Right.
you to like just write them down.
Will there be a time when you think you're gonna do it audio? Put an audio book out.
You're like the 99th 10,000 person. No, so
You know what it is? I'm gonna keep it funky with you.
Yeah.
People are driving to work. All right.
Yes.
And people consume while they're driving.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I can Bluetooth the sucker and I'm back and
Yeah.
forth to work and that helps me out, it saves me
Yeah.
time because I come home, I got my wife.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got my
yeah.
kids. Not saying that I have those right now,
right,
but I'm
yeah.
just giving an example of someone who's taking care of this, you know,
Right.
or vice versa. She's coming home, she got a husband and her kid to take
Right,
care of. You know what I
right.
mean? The only way she can consume it is late at night
Right.
on her Kindle,
Yeah.
or while he or she is driving to work.
No, definitely. I will definitely. One of my homegirls, she's like, so when you going to send me my voice note? I'm waiting for my voice note because, you know, the audio's not out. So she's literally like, you have to send me a voice note every morning of the book. And I'm like, no, but that's definitely going to come soon.
The friends are beasts.
yeah,
As
yeah,
I'm starting to gather, all friends are beasts. Like, you got to do this for me, right?
Right.
You love me, right?
Right. So no, eventually I definitely see it. I'm hoping to get that done before the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I just have to figure like what that process is. You
All
know,
right.
this is all new, so I
If
don't
you
really know.
need any help recording that kind of stuff, you let me know. I can help you out with that.
Well,
'cause
see,
that
look.
guy works right there. It works.
Yes, we'll take this offline.
When did this become like, okay, so we're gonna do the book?
Mm-hmm.
Tell the people like how's the process of getting a book done, and how's that for you? How was that process researching how to get a
Right,
book done?
right.
How was those steps taken? How do you take those steps?
So, actually, I had all 30 devotionals already written at this time. So, I know a couple of people who wrote a book. So I was like, okay, let me just I just was like, I was at work one day and I was like, let me just research how much does it cost to self-publish? Like, what are the steps? So I did my research on maybe like 3 different companies. And then Sora of mine, she actually published 3 books.
Oh, sweet.
So I was like, well, I know her, so
Right.
let me, I slid in her DM like, hey girl, quick question, I just wrote a book and I'm looking to get it published. I know you published a few books, like
Right.
what company did you use? So she's like, I used this particular company to do my last 2 books, but I didn't like them. And she said, I actually just published my own book under my own company.
Right.
So she's like, if you're interested, I can give you some information about it. And I was like, okay, cool. So
Yeah,
not only
yeah.
are you my soror, okay, not only are you a woman, a black woman, you're somebody that I know. Oh, I'm definitely going to give you my money.
Nice.
Like, you know what I mean?
Nice.
And then because I had...
That's when you got those. That's the importance of taking that step to join a group.
Right.
And a group that can give you some type of help
Yeah.
as you go in your journey, because that's important.
Yeah.
I used to be completely anti joining any kind of groups because
Yeah.
I'm an individual kind of a person.
Right.
But as I grow on in life, I kind of started to understand why people join groups because
Yeah.
people, you can't do it all yourself. I spoke about that in the last podcast. You just can't do it all yourself. I'm a person who says, you know what? I'm going to sit there, watch as many YouTube videos and learn and take time to do it. But I can't access everything by myself. And obviously, I'm not doing it by myself because someone's teaching me that. So when that person is helping you out, that's a godsend for you.
Absolutely.
And you decide to go in there. What kind of things were you looking at? Like, okay, do I want it to be a hardcover? Do I want it to be soft cover? What kind of
Right.
things were you looking at?
And she actually helped me with all of that. She
Okay.
held my hand the entire time. So the process wasn't as long as maybe some people's process maybe with the
Yeah.
book because it was already done. So
Right,
by the
right,
time I contacted her, she sent me the contract maybe like a week later. Signed the contract. All I had to do was, because I actually had it written physically in my journal.
Okay.
So I had to type up the manuscript, send that to her, and we went through rounds and rounds and rounds of editing, proofreading. You know what? No, let me take this section out. This, you know what? This sounds better. Whatever the case is.
You got to read that out loud all the time.
Read it out loud. So while that's going on, I'm still writing for the blog.
Right.
And then I reached out to my best friend, her husband. He designed the cover. So like I said, he's a creative.
Right.
So, him and I, the three of us would be in the house on a Sunday night and, he would just be brainstorming like, you know what, I like this logo. Let's make it like this. I told him I like the color purple. For me, it just...
that was the one thing about when you guys see the book and everything, if you listen to the podcast, you can check out the book, or you can do that right now. It's purple. And I was like, wow, but... I honestly thought it was going to be red. No. That's the sorority colors.
Right.
So I'm keeping it true with you.
Listen,
okay, keep it true with you. But I like it.
Yeah.
I like the way it gives it a standout that I just don't see every day, which is dope. Because, commonplace, normally books are either white.
Right.
They're a very standard color.
Yeah.
And for you to put it in that color is dope.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. And I picked it because it means royalty. And it's a very powerful color, and it just stood out to me. It's something, I don't know, I just, like when I closed my eyes, I could just see it in purple writing. And then we ended up just making it a purple cover.
Sweet.
So that's how that went. And she just held my hand the whole time. It was a lot of late nights, up writing, editing. And the past month, like once I said pre-order, once I put that out there, I mean, it's been like this. So, but I enjoyed the process. I learned a lot. It goes down to the detail of like, well, what color paper do you want? Do you want it to be cream or white? Hardcover, softcover. What size do you want? Do you want it to be interactive? Will there be images in the book? Like, it gets very...
What kind of font?
Right, exactly the font.
I didn't know it was this many fonts.
Yes.
There's so many fonts.
Font is very critical too, But I think that is a product of my personality. I think it's... Just looking at it, it can relate to a lot of people.
Yes. It takes... I always tell people, the hardest part is the smallest details.
Yes.
You think it's all the other big stuff, but no, it's just the minute details. Even when I do this podcast, like I wake up and I put stuff in like stuff that I'm writing about, whatever I'm thinking, it takes me at least 15, 20 minutes to get that together. And that's just a short, maybe minute 5-sentence blurb about what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to be precise about what you're doing. And coming from that process to now, how much of your life or who you are has changed through this process? Did you go through like a real like changing moment for yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I changed a lot. And I think we were speaking about this earlier, how like my faith, or you mentioned it, and I was going to tap into it. My faith was stretched a lot during this process because as I'm writing the book, I have things in my mind where I'm like, all right, well, this is going to happen for me. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And it's like, that was not God's plan for me at that time.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, I need you by yourself. I need you to focus on me. I need you to focus on this book because it's bigger than you.
Did it stretch relationships too with other people around you?
Yeah, with other people around me. So it felt like, I had to be by myself. And even though like,
solitude comes
and
great
it was
creativity.
hard.
Yeah,
it's very hard.
Especially because you're a social person.
Yes.
And you had to cut yourself off from that for a little while.
And it's very hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you just have to unplug. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I need to be by myself. I don't even know what's going on with me. So I need to figure it out. Some people are asking me questions and I don't have the answer because I'm still confused. I'm still trying to figure out who am I becoming?
People want to be around your energy. People like being around your energy.
Yes.
That's like
right,
that's
which I love. And it's just like, as I'm writing this book, it's like, I feel like a lot of people weren't understanding.
Right.
So because I'm able to see things from a different perspective, it's like, oh, you know, and I'm just like, so sometimes like I'll say something and I just be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
yeah.
it was very hard. Like I mentioned, I had my book signing, and I was just saying how this has been the hardest year of my life.
Right.
It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of like, and I said how like my faith was just tested because it's like I'm used to speaking anything into existence. I'm used to this. But as I'm praying for other people and I'm seeing God answering my prayers for these people, when it came to me, it was like, hello, oh, January passed, February passed, March, April, May. And I'm still sitting here waiting like, God, hello. Did you forget about me? Like, here.
It takes time to get to you, but you know what? Sometimes I think that God or the universe, whatever you believe in,
right, exactly.
It shows you. It will give you an idea of what can be done.
Right.
To give you the faith and the strength to see that it can be done so you can reach out and get to that point.
Exactly.
Because I saw a lot of my friends who have relationships that are good. They have children. They have things going on.
Right.
And I used to say to myself, well, why can't I get there?
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, you can't get there because you're following everything that they're doing.
Yeah.
You're trying to get the job. You're trying to get all the security.
Yeah.
You have to follow the path in which you can live.
Yeah.
You can't follow everybody else's path. And, it might seem scary to you to go down that path like you are. This is scary for you because none of your friends are doing this.
Yeah.
That's you doing this at this point.
Yeah.
And it's a scary thing, but you decided to jump.
Right.
Both feet in. Not one foot hanging over like,
right.
okay, maybe.
And it was,
maybe.
And the crazy part is once I was in,
Yeah.
it's no turning back.
Yeah.
Like you just gotta and things just started going, and that was the part that was blowing my mind. Like I can't believe that I reached out to my publisher / soror April. It's September.
And we got the book.
And you're looking at the book right now. You know what I mean?
And it wasn't rushed through or
and
something.
it wasn't rushed through.
Yeah.
And that's the part that amazes me because I actually started writing November 28th, 2017.
Right. Whew. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because you go through, I'm sure you've had family issues that have come up.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you had friendships, the issues that have come up through that time and still managed to do that. Any length of time.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big believer, like I said in the last, I'm a big believer that it only takes 2 years to change your life.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that if you do something every day for 2 years, your life will change.
Yeah.
And I think that you going and through those things and then putting it out in a book and stuff like that is remarkable. I think that's really dope because I've always wanted to write a book. Never had the balls to, but you did.
Right.
And that's amazing.
And I think that also I feel like God just used me to be an example.
Very rich.
Because since I even posted the book, a lot of people have inboxed me or text me like, you just inspired me because I've been wanting to write a book. I started a book and didn't complete it. I started a book a year ago, and it's just like, I'm like, my advice to people, just do it.
Nike commercial.
Yeah, exactly, right? Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
There's something that you went through in your life that somebody else needs to hear.
Right.
You know, we all have different things. And it's like, you know, I forgot, I seen it on Instagram. It's like, if God gave you an idea, don't worry about if somebody else has a podcast. There's still room for you to have your own podcast.
That's what, I was so afraid. Listen, I was so shook because I thought the market is so saturated.
Exactly.
Why start doing this? It's like I always say, the market is saturated because everyone's trying to do it, but not everyone is you.
Exactly.
You have to do what you do. I do my thing. That's why everything has my name on it.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, just doing me. Like, if you want to start a YouTube page, start a YouTube page.
Yep.
You started a blog. There are probably a billion blogs in the world, but there's only one Brandi McAlister blog, and that's you.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably your greatest lesson you probably learned from this stuff.
And it's funny because, so I had the blog. Oh, you had asked me earlier how my blog is different. I just read like a lot of like Joyce Meyer or like The Praying Woman or like Joel Osteen. And like how mine is different is because I gave my own it's just different. I give my own
to your own
to my
view.
own.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, cool. And so originally I wanted my blog to kind of be like a feed where like it would just be post. Like how I do on Facebook, like a status post. That's that was my vision. And then once I had these 4 devotional blogs left over, it was like, nah, No, that's not what you not.
That's
No,
no, it's not about
gonna
that
work.
life. Yeah, yeah.
No, right? So then when I started the Instagram page, I follow like a lot of like Instagram ministries, spiritual world, all those type of like encouraging blogs. And I was sitting here like, how am I going to be different? Like, what is standing out about me? And it just came to me. So how mine is different, I just put one word. So I could say hope. And then I'm going to ask you questions, and the word hope is mixed in with the questions.
Nice. So basically, you're giving us you're using that one word as the premise.
Yep.
And then after that, everyone is a questionnaire
Right.
from that point.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. But that's dope. That is unique to you.
Yeah.
So you found your unique purpose.
Exactly.
Your niche.
Yeah.
I used to hate niches. I used to be like, why would I want to find a niche? I don't want to pigeonhole myself to these kind of things. But in this world, you need something to stand out from the crowd. Number
Exactly.
one. But you also need something to latch onto to give you a seed to grow your tree from.
Yep.
And I see where you're coming from with that. Did it ever come to you that you wanted to get into that commentary world where you were commenting on different things that were going on in pop culture? Did you ever have that inkling to do that from your perspective? Did you ever come to that point? Or were you always just, I'm going to stick with what I know?
Yeah, I think like that never.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
it never came up to me. It's like, you know what? This is Brandi. This is who I am.
Right.
This is my lane. So far, it's been working for me.
Right.
And yeah.
That's she's like, yeah.
I'm like,
I'm not with this.
Yeah, no, I'm not. You know what? Let me do what I do.
I feel you. I totally get you with
Yeah.
that. Totally get you with that. So with this, and now that you got your book out and you're moving in this forward direction, what kind of things do you hope that you'll see from this book?
I've actually already started to see people contacting me like, thank you so much.
Hey, I'm here. I'm here because
Right?
you blew my mind with it. So I was like, whoa, she wrote a book?
Yeah.
Totally left field for me here.
And it's like people are coming to me on my blog. Older women are responding like, you are such an inspiration and encouraging me. And me, it's so natural to me. I'm like, we just having a conversation.
No,
Like, I don't,
exactly. I was inspiring people. Still,
yeah,
don't mind me.
I never look at it like that. I'm just like, because I've been doing this for so long.
Right,
Like,
right.
this is just natural to me. Like, I love to help people. So anyway, like, I'm always going to encourage you. So it's funny. So I turned myself the spiritual friend visor.
There you go. That's a nice
So
term.
I came right. So I came
fucks
up.
with that,
So
yeah.
all in the midst of this, this is how this came up. So it's basically a spiritual friend visor is basically a friend who just gives you advice based off of like godly wisdom.
Right.
Like-
so he's basically keeping you in the faith.
Exactly.
I get you.
Exactly. So when people come to me, I'm gonna give you this. This is how I'm gonna help you.
Do you ever want to get into speaking?
Actually, I'm getting like I'm enjoying this. Like this is like I'm like sitting here. I have my Q&A on Sunday. So I'm like, this is good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can definitely see it. And now when my pastor, she's asking me to speak maybe twice. I feel like that has been preparing me for speaking.
Your journey, and I'm gonna tell you like this. Like I always say, I think that personally, me seeing you down the road, if you want to do the spiritual motivational speaker stuff, not be a reverend or a deacon or something of that nature, but you want to go into spiritual revelation and talking to people and giving them motivation and stuff like that, you could do it.
And see, I thank you.
You can do
You are
it.
the first person to say that to me because, and what was making me uncomfortable at first without even wanting to put this out is because I didn't want people to look at me in a way where it was like, oh, so you're going to be a pastor. Oh, so you're going to be a minister. And I'm like, no. and I don't know what's down the road, but
Right.
Brandi right now,
Yeah.
I don't see that for myself.
Right.
Like, and the type of work that I'm doing for God is just helping people.
Yeah, you don't necessarily always have to be in the faith in that way.
Exactly.
You could go down that road of being someone who speaks about being spiritually in touch with yourself,
Yes.
understanding the Lord and all that stuff.
Yes.
You can definitely go and do that. I think that a lot of people get a lot of misjudgments. They think automatically for you to stand in front of people, you have to be a reverend or a deacon or something like that.
And that's what was a lot of my struggle this year. And I thank you because you're the first person to see it from that side.
Well, you're welcome. I appreciate
as
that. I didn't know
opposed
that.
to like trying to put those labels on me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it.
Right, right.
If you don't know that there's other ways to still help other people.
Yeah.
But I enjoy speaking to people. I enjoy having a conversation and to help you with that.
Right.
And I said that I struggle with it because me. You follow me.
Yeah.
Like, I still like to go out, turn up, have a good time.
You live in a secular world, but you can still be spiritual. And
Exactly.
I think you want to be that bridge for young women.
Yes,
who feel like they can't get there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's what I wanted people to look at me as, like, okay, Brandi could still go out, have fun, but she still believes in God. She still goes to church. She still does, her faith. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want people to, like, just look at me like, I'm Brandi. I'm B Diva. I'm Brandi. It's still B.
Okay.
I'm still me.
Right.
So that was my struggle. That was my struggle this year. But I'm finally in a place where I'm like, I'm okay. I know who I am.
You're becoming comfortable in that skin of yours,
and
right?
I'm becoming comfortable because it was very uncomfortable, and now I'm comfortable. I'm like, I know who I am. I know I have a book. I know I have a testimony. I know I have a blog, and I know that's how I love to help people.
So you're in that space where you're feeling your full creativity. Your third eye is open, as they say. Your creative eye is open. You're starting to see things. Where do you, as things get successful with this book and as things move forward, have you thought about saying, okay, what's my next step? What's my follow-up? Or you just enjoy the moment?
I'm trying to enjoy the moment.
Stay there.
I haven't really been able to get in the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's just been like
thing after thing.
Yeah. Like this weekend, I have another book signed, and then then the following weekend, I'm gonna be a vendor at another event.
Yeah.
So it's like things are just like, and I'm thankful.
Good.
I'm thankful for all these opportunities.
And this is how it starts. You go to these, you go there. Your fan base begins to build up.
Right.
You're understanding. People begin to listen to you.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, somebody might hand you a bag.
Yeah.
To go speak somewhere.
I'm waiting for that bag. I'm waiting for that.
Somebody hands you that bag to go speak somewhere.
Right. I could definitely see myself like doing speaking engagements, motivational speaker, encourager.
Exactly. These things I think are important. I think you could find those things. I think that you are becoming, and then eventually you're going to step into full on entrepreneurship. And when you're in that space, your faith will be tested.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. I just LLC'd my business yesterday, 9/11, so I would never forget it. That's the reason why I did it. And I said to myself, I've been scared.
Yeah.
I've been super shook to do what I'm doing because you have expectations. I have a reputation. A reputation as who I am. Like, Brian? No, Brian doesn't screw up shit. He does take care of things.
Right.
But I'm like, either I go and do this, or I'll be 48 years old somewhere really pissed at myself because I didn't go out and do it when I had the opportunity.
Right.
So this is your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's like, you just keep going. For me, I'm inspired because I don't get to see a lot of people who look like me, number one. And number two, people come from where I come from and not follow the usual path.
Yeah.
And follow the norm. You decide I'm going to stay on this little bit of path, but you see this little dirt road over here?
Woo, that dirt road. Listen, let me tell you about that dirt road. That dirt road is real, y'all. Like, if y'all not ready to go on that dirt road, then y'all stay.
Don't do it.
Right, don't do it.
You got the funds to pave it.
Listen.
It's not an easy road.
But what I can tell you is when you do go on the dirt road, it is such a rewarding experience once you finally get back on the pavement.
Yeah, man. Man.
And that is what I learned this year.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. And that's where you're at with it.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I just think that you just got to continue to do what you're doing. I don't think you should try to think too much of it.
Thank you.
Just move forward and just continue to do it. I mean, you got your friends supporting you.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people out here who don't got their homies. Yeah. Especially not homies that they can call.
Right.
I known her and him, these people since I couldn't even I had a little squeaky voice and I talk and I was awkward. Mm-hmm. You know these people since you were young.
Right.
And most people don't have those friends. So
that
consider yourself a lucky person who still got them. You might hate them some days.